Hello and welcome to the setup video for the Yamaha mixer at Word Up. I'm doing this in Recirculation, but of course this could be in Word Up main bookstore. We're going to do this in three pieces or three chapters: setup, and then setting your sound levels, and then I'll show how to use the effects on this mixer. It's all really straightforward, and you may not even need this video, but if you're unsure about what you're doing, or if you want to make sure you do something that doesn't that works, you might want to use this. So let's talk about setup. I've set it up here in Recirculation. I've set up our mixer for what I think is a typical situation. We have two mics and one auxiliary input. So if somebody was playing a guitar and two people were singing, we'd be set up for that, or a keyboard could be plugged in. So there are two Shure SM58 mics over there and two XLR cables going from each mic to the inputs of the mixer. One mic is going to the first input, which is right up here, and the second is going to the second input right up here. Doesn't matter which is which. The settings on each track, and this are tracks, so the leftmost track here, I've set it so that the gain is in the area that is indicated on the dial there, the little white spot. The compression all the way down. Everything else down here, the EQ, the equalizer, these three green buttons right in the center, the effects return, which is the white button all the way to the left, and the pan right in the middle, and then the fader basically for the level. I've set it right here where you see it, but it could be in a couple other places. When you initially set up the mixer, it's a good idea to have the master volume, which is over here on the right, all the way down. Okay, so maybe the first thing you do when you set it up is just turn that all the way down before you turn it on, and even before you hook up stuff. Let's see, so we're going back here. So this is channel 1, and one microphone is into that, and you see how we've set it up here. You may twist these or vary these, you almost certainly will during a performance, but for initial setup, this is the way to do it. The one to its right, the other mic, is, I think, set up entirely the same way at the moment. Then we have this auxiliary input, and this is a 1/4 inch, here we go, 1/4 inch mono line, and this goes right in here. And again, this could be plugged into a guitar or to a keyboard or anything else really that has a line level input. And this is set up also, or should be set up in a similar way right on down the line here. I'll adjust some of this. And again, you'll be, this pan should be in the middle here. And then the level can be, let me set the pan here, effects down, pan in the middle, and then the level can be up here. When people are plugging or unplugging keyboards and guitars, you want to maybe have this down so that you don't get that annoying click noise. In terms of setup, there's a couple other things. Our mixer itself is, of course, powered by its power supply, which should be in the bag with it. And then, very important, the sound out of the mixer to our single PA is a 1/4 inch jack through here, 1/4 inch jack through the, let's see if I can see it here. Yes, it'll be the stereo out, and choose the left side. I've got the monitor on right now, so you're gonna hear that click, but we'll just plug it in and we're set to go. And this goes out and around and up to the input on our monitor right here. I have the monitor set up so that the levels, the gains are pretty much in the middle. You might want to adjust this a bit. And then there's some equalizers, which I just set right here to the top. And then, of course, it's plugged in. It's very important that the monitor be set in front of the microphones. And it's not quite in front of them right now, but during a performance, I would move the monitor forward a few feet, because otherwise the sound from the monitor will go into the microphones, and that's what causes that feedback that everyone loves. So monitor in front of the microphones, and in fact in front of anything that's picking up a sound. So it could be guitar, could be even, a percussion instrument. I think that is set up for the typical situation. Now, of course, you could plug in a third or a fourth mic here. We actually, although there are 4 channels here, we have, I think, is it 10? Yeah, it's 10 total inputs here. One thing that's useful if you want to feed an iPhone or some sort of a streaming sound source, you can do that by plugging in the iPhone either to the 5.6 channel or the 7.8 channel here. And I don't have the means to show you that yet, but it's very similar to what we do with the mics or what we do with any other input. You simply plug it in and then adjust the levels. Okay, so that is setup. We'll return in a second for setting sound levels. Okay, so this is the tutorial or instructional video regarding setting levels once you've set up the mixer at Recirculation or Word Up, and the performance is imminent. So you want to set the levels. You want to make sure everything is mixed together so that people can hear everything that they should hear, and that nothing is overwhelming anything else. It's very straightforward. There are many ways to do this, and here's a very basic way to do it. If you've set things up initially, things should be set, and I'm looking over here at the left channel, which is connected to our mic, so that the gain is up here in the sort of sweet spot. You might tweak that up or down depending, but initially here. The compression should be all the way down. You may adjust that later. And the pan is in the middle here, and the peak is right about here. Now, in this situation, you can turn up the master volume, and the mic will be live. Now, what you want to do, of course, is have the sound source, a singer or whatever the mic is miking, play and set that sound. Then you'll go through and do this. Oh, sorry, let me back up here. You'll adjust the sound by turning the fader up and down, right? If the singer's very powerful or quiet, you'll turn it up or down this way. Usually, once you've set everything else, you'll have enough range in the fader to make the adjustment there. And then you'll go and do it for everything else. The second vocalist, say, a guitar player or a keyboard player, maybe something else. You want to set all of these individually and then have the sound play together, or at least all those people play together, and then you'll make some adjustments. The overall volume, the volume that the audience hears, is controlled through the red volume control at the bottom. We have one speaker, so everything here is mono. It's not a stereo system, but that does control the overall volume. You'll make adjustments, of course, during the performance as things change or as loud singers come up, and usually that's a matter of tweaking the faders and in some cases fiddling with a little bit of the gain. If you have somebody who has brought a mic that has a low output, you might want to tweak it there. For compression, if you have somebody who has a wide dynamic range, they sing very loud and very quietly, the compression can really help with that. It will make the loud parts quieter and the quieter parts louder. It compresses the signal into, so it's all of close to the same volume, or depending upon how you turn this. There can be some effects. If you turn this all the way up, you'll get some wonky audio effects that can be fun actually, but usually aren't desired. So again, setting up in our case with two vocalists and a guitar or keyboard is usually pretty straightforward. Mixing that is pretty straightforward. And as I said, there are a couple different ways to do this, so you don't have to do it in the order in which I suggest. All right, that is mixing. Let's move on to the effects. One of the great things about this mixer is that it has a whole range of effects. Now, I've had it set up, or it's set up now so that none of the effects are actually showing up in the signal, but here's how you make that happen. First of all, you turn on the effects. I'm going to turn down my volume all the way here so nothing weird happens. I turn on that, and even without that light, it'll display what effect is, but that doesn't mean anything until the effects are on. And now two things are happening. Every channel has available to it whatever effect is indicated in this window. So it's 3, and which is the Reverb Room 1. All of these first 7 or so effects are reverb effects, which add a sort of warmth to the voice or a warmth to the signal, make it sound like it's in a big space. You're going to do two things when you put reverb on a track or on a mic. Say you're going to turn up the amount by which that reverbed voice is sent to the original track. You're going to turn up the amount of reverb, and it's a little confusing. But there's also a parameter button here which has minimum and max. The parameter controls how much reverb is in it. The return level, this button down here, controls how much of that is sent to the track. So this will be a little confusing until I show you how it works, but it's pretty straightforward. We've got it set up here so it's sending some reverb, a fair amount of it, to all the tracks, but how much reverb is on a given track depends upon this effects return. FX is effects, and this is really the effects return. Currently, there's nothing, no reverb going to that channel 1 microphone, but if I turn this up, you'll be able to hear it. I'm gonna turn it up all the way, and then I'm gonna walk over, and you'll be able to hear me speak into the mic, and you should be able to hear the reverb on that channel. The channel to the right is completely off, and so I'll compare them two. So here's one channel with and one channel without reverb. All right. Well, I've turned down the volume here. There we go. So we'll turn that up. Now we should hear it. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm in recirculation, but it sounds like I'm in a giant auditorium. It sounds like I'm in the United Palace. This is mic number 1 with the reverb, and over here, just so you can hear the contrast, is mic number 2. So here's mic number 2, and it's clear to my ears. I hope it is on the thing. There's no reverb, it just sounds like a voice. So that's the difference. You want to add reverb into vocals and sometimes some other sound sources because it can make it sound warm and really pleasant, really comfortable. Now, reverb isn't the only effect. There are tons of great effects, and we should explore them and make use of them all. And the best way to do that is just to sit and play with it. There's some delays, there's vocal echoes. Karaoke, by the way, I think that's going to be an option which will try to take out vocals from a sound source. So if you play something through it, you might be able to just take out the vocals. That's the karaoke effect. Phaser, flanger, chorus, all these other things are different combinations of ways that you can alter the voice. You don't have to do any of that, and the way to make sure no effects are coming through is just to turn that off. And you can also then, if you want to, turn the effects returns here, and you won't have any effects. And again, make sure, if you're not getting the effects, make sure that both the parameter setting is set up. If it's this way, there'll be no effect, and if it's this way, there'll be the maximum amount of the effect, and then the effect send is on, and you may want to adjust this. And again, lots of room for creativity here, and some really cool stuff can come out of the effects thing. So that is our Yamaha MG X10U mixer. There's a lot more that it does, so this is just the rudimentary bits, hopefully giving you a chance to know how to do it if you need to set up for an event and want them to sound pretty good. All right, take care.